So today we are going to build a calculator in Android NDK with C++ and Compose UI using the clean architecture. The main business logic of the application will be in C++ while other architectural component will be in Kotlin. So here's what we are going to build. The UI will be in Compose UI and we can use calculator like so. So without any further delay, let's get started. If you're new to Android NDK, make sure to check out our previous video where we have explained how to set it up and how it works step by step. Alright, let's set up our Android project. Open Android Studio and create a new project. Select Compose template. We will use Compose template and then add NDK support later on. If you need to get full explained video on how to add NDK support in an existing Android project, you can find a link for that on top right corner. So the name of the project will be Calculator NDK and hit finish. Alright, once the project is created, we'll start by adding NDK support in this project. Go to build Gradle and then add a new block of code here. So the block of code will be external native build, and then we will have to make another block of CMake, and then now we have to add CPP flag for this one. So CPP flags will be standard equals C++ 17. So just below the packaging we have to add external native build, and then we have to add CMake block, and now we have to give path of CMake file. So the path will be a variable of file, but in this case the path will be available from our Android project from here, but it is not yet created. We have to create that one right now. So before creating a new CMake file, let's add a version. So the version for our CMake will be 3.22.1. and now let's create a CMake file. So hit Android and then project, and now go to app source main, and then you have to create a new directory here, and directory will be CPP like so, and in that directory we have to add CMake files. So the file will be this one, cmakelists.txt. Minimum required version is the one we have mentioned in the build Gradle, and then we have to give the project name. The project will be Calculator NDK. We have to add a library for our CPP file. So let's create a new file in the project. Hit new. So we have to create a new file, and we have name this file as native-lib cpp, and then go back to CMake list and then add this native lib in that CMake file. Add library, and then we have to mention variable of CMake underscore project name, and then we have to add shared, and here we have to add this native library file that we have just created. We have to add another library to log the native builds. So for this one, add a project name, and then we have to add Android and log. Once this is completed, go back to Gradle and hit sync now. Okay, we got an error. That's because we have left empty quotes here, empty string. So this will be the path of CMake list. So the path will be source, main, CPP and CMake list. So let's add this one. Source, main, CPP, then CMake list, and try again. Alright, so once the syncing is completed, now go to project and go back to Android, and you will see this structure right here. So now we have added NDK support in this project. So now let's set up the clean architecture. We will create necessary packages for the data, domain and presentation layers. So create a new package. First will be data, and then another one will be domain, and then we'll create a new package that will be presentation. In the presentation layer, let's move this main activity file in that one. In this file, let's remove the existing hello world greetings here. Remove this, remove scaffold also, and remove all of these functions right here. And now let's start creating a new compose function, and let's name the function as CalculatorApp, and this function will not take any arguments, and this function will also be a preview one so that we can get the preview in the right. Hit build and refresh. So initially the canvas will be blank, and now we have to add a column. So the column will be the base, and then add a modifier for that column. We have to add fill max size, and then let's give a padding of 16 dp. Now as you can see, there is a preview in the right. Now let's add a background in here. So the background will be color.white, and now let's create a basic text field in the top where user entered numbers will appear. So this will be basic text field, a string of 100 plus 15 for example, and on value change will be a blank lambda. And now let's give some styles for this text field. So the first thing will be it is a read only, and now we have to add a modifier for this one and remove this existing things, fill max width, and now let's add some background for this one. So let's say color will be gray, just to see the dimensions of our text field. And now let's add some padding. So now it looks good, and now we have to give some styling to this text also. text style. So text style will be getting the local text style, and we have to copy the color, import this text style, and then we have to add font size. Font size will be 28. Import this property, and now we have to add font weight. So font weight will be medium one. Sorry, it will be weight. All right, so this is good. Now let's remove this background so that styling is now completed for this one. All right, so now let's add a backspace button right here. So this will be icon button. On click will be blank for now. And now we have to add icon with image vector will be from the icons default set, default, and let's import icons, and from the default one we have to get the arrow back. So this will be available from the arrow back here. All right, add a description back. Okay, so as we can see, the backspace is just below the text field because of the column layout. Now this backspace should be available at the end of this basic text field. So now let's wrap these two things in a box. Like so. And wait for the build. Yeah. So it is now appearing on top of each other. Now let's add some modifiers for this button. So modifier will be modifier dot align. Alignment will be center. So alignment will be from Compose UI, and then we have to get the center end. This looks good. Now we have to add a buttons grid in. Now we have to add a button grid below this text field. So let's create a new function, calculator button grid, and this will be a composable function. And now the button grid will contain grid of buttons. So let's first create a calculator button composable. So this will be a, let's name this calculator button, and now it will be a button, and let's add a preview with this one also, and preview will be available right below. And now this will be a button with on click, currently empty, and now we have to pass this modifier to this button, and now we have to add a text in this one with a text. For example, it will be 8, and let's add a font size of 28 sp, and now the button will be like this. So now we have to create a grid of these buttons. So let's make this button dynamic. So the text will be passing from the arguments, and this on click will also be passed right here. Replace this 8 with a text and on click with this on click, and now let's remove this preview, go back to grid, now create a new column for the grid, and in that grid the first row, so it will be an easy one. So in this row we have to add a calculator button like so. So the button is added. The first one will be 7, and now let's copy this 4 times, and this will be 8, 9, and the last one will be an operator plus. Okay, so now we have to arrange this to take the width of full screen. So we can do so by adding a horizontal arrangement here, arrangement with the space between, and also we have to add a modifier of fill max width. Alright, this doesn't look good with the space between them, so what we can do is add a modifier with a weight of 1 and remove these modifiers like so, and we have to add modifiers for all of these buttons. Let's wait for the build. Now this looks good, and now we have to add a space around that one, will be like 4. Okay, so the good practice will be create a new variable for this button modifier. So the more copy this modifier and add a weight, remove करना है, remove करके बाद में type. Okay, so now we have first row of the buttons. Close this row, copy and paste 3 times. So now second row will be 4, 5, 6, and then minus. Okay, for the third row it will be 1, 2, 3, and now we have multiply. So now add a last row, and for the last row will be a clear button C, and then we have 0, and then we have equals, and the last one will be divide. Alright, the UI part is now completed. Now let's move on to the business logic of this calculator. So go to the presentation layer and now create a new view model for this here. Name this view model as main view model. This will be extending from a view model. And now for the view models, we have to create a state and event for a user click. So there will be a state at a single time. The state will be this result, and yeah, the state will only be a result of this string, and then we have actions for all of these buttons. So let's create a data class for the state. This will be the result, and now string is empty, and now we have to create a new seed class for main event. So the event will be data class of, this will be on num click, number is string, like so, and then the second one will be on operator clicked, operator, and now we have to add on clear clicked and equal clicked. So this will be data object on back click, and another one will be data object, like so. So now events are added. Let's create a state in this view model for this one. So the state will be private val underscore, this will be a main state, and this will be mutable state flow with the main state initially empty. So then we have a main state, this will be like so, and we have to add a type as an immutable property. Okay, so now let's create a function, public function for on event, and this will be giving us main event with the main event argument. And now let's add a when statement here, add a new remaining branches. So now initially this will all be empty because we have not yet added a use cases for the data and domain layers. Let's add those. Go to the domain layer and create a new packages. The first one will be model. New package will be a repository. Another one, this will be use cases. Now let's add a new model in this one. So the model will be a data class with the calculation result. So the result will be without this error. So the result will be a string which will be returning from the C++ NDK class. And now let's add a repository, new interface. We have to create a new interface here, which will be calculator repository. It will take just one argument, calculate result. So first one will be value 1 and it will be a double, and then we have value 2, it will also be a double. Third one will be operator, this will be a char and it will return us calculator result. Okay, so now create a new use case for this one. New Java Kotlin class, this will be calculate result use case. Okay, so in this one it will take a calculator repository as an argument, and then we have to create an operator function with an invoke which will give us calculator result. And now just we have to return the calculator repository result from here, like so. Okay, now let's move back to main view model and create a new use case for this one. So the use case will be calculate result use case. This will be equals to calculate result use case. So the AI has automatically added this one. Currently we have not created this implementation right here, so let's leave it right here. And now go back to data layer, add a new packages in this one, So the package will be repository for the implementation of the domain repository. And now create a new package. For this one will be of source of data, and now we have to give the data source as an NDK. So for this data source, so let's create a new interface for the NDK data source, NDK source, and this will be an interface, and it will be same as calculate result with this one, value 1, value 2, operator, and then gives us string. And now we have to implement this NDK source. This will be NDK source implementation. This will be a class which will implement NDK source. Implement these methods, and now from here we have to link this. Now from here we have to link this with the NDK. So how we can add a NDK from here? So for this one, let's create a new Kotlin class. So this will be a Kotlin object, calculator JNI. It will be a bridge between Kotlin and NDK. So in this one, first we have to initialize a system library that will be calculator NDK. So the library name will be from the the library name will be from the CMake list, that is this one, calculator NDK. Go back to calculator JNI and then add this one here. And now we have to add external function calculate result, which should be part of the CPP file available in the native library in here. So let's create this function in the native library. Open this file CPP from here. We have to import some libraries, existing headers for this one, and now we have to make our JNI function to bind this with this library. So now let's start by creating an external C JNI export. It will return us a JString with a JNI call. And now let's name the function. It will always start with Java and underscore, and then we have to add a package name. Go to build Gradle and check out the package name. So copy this package name and go back to library and paste it right here. Replace dot with underscore. And now this function should also be linked with the calculator JNI, which will be available in this package. Remaining package name from here, calculator NDK, copy this one and add here data underscore source underscore NDK. And now we have to add a function name in here. So the function name will be from this calculate JNI object. So add an object, and now we have to add a function which will be this calculate result, this one, and add a new track, this one. So you should see this icon right here, which should indicate that it is now implemented in this library. So it will take some arguments as an environment. So this will be J object. Just copy along, and now we have to pass the functions from value 1 and double value 2, and then we have to pass operator like so. If you click on this icon, it will move back to this interface right here. Okay, so now we have a proper binded function right here. It will take value 1, value 2, and now we have to add a business logic in this one. So to add a business logic, let's create a new class for this. Let's create a new calculator class which will do the business logic and gives the result back to this function, and this function will return the result back to the calculator JNI, which will then eventually give back to the NDK source implementation. So move back to the native library and right click in here and create a new class. So the class will be calculator.cpp. Now we have to make this file as a part of the project, which means that we have to go back to CMake list and add this file in this here as calculator cpp. Okay, now go back to calculator cpp, and in here now for this one we have to create a new header for this class, so which will be the interface for this class, the blueprint. So this will be named as calculator.h, and in that one we have to add include string, and now we have to create a new class calculator, and in this class we have to add a public method which will be calculate result. It will be double value 1 with another variable value 2 and char operator. And now we have to add some private properties for this one. This will be double add. This will take a first value and the second value, and it will give us a result on addition. duplicate this line 4 times and make this one as subtract, and now we have multiply, and now we have divide. Now go back to calculator CPP and add this. We have not clicked on sync, so this should be removed. And now go back to CPP file and include this calculator header, and now we have to add another header that will be std accept. And now what it is saying, that we have to add the implementation for all of these functions. This will be calculator dot add. It will return as a plus b, and another one will be calculator subtract. And let's duplicate these 4 times and replace this with subtract, and this will be a minus, and now multiply. This will be multiply, and for the divide, this should be a slash divide, but we have to add an if statement to check that if b is not equal to 0, then we have to return this one, else we have to return some kind of exception from here that will be std as an invalid argument, and this will be division by 0. So the last will be the public function, which is calculator calculate result. Just we have to add a switch in here with the operator, and now add a case expression will be plus, which will return add with value 1, value 2 to this one. And now copy this couple of times for minus multiply divide. Replace this with subtract multiply divide, and for the default one, this will throw us another statement which will be default. This should be, we can say that, invalid operator. Alright, so now go back to native library, and now we have to add, first of all we have to include calculator class, that is calculator header, and now we have to create a new variable for this class, this will be an object of this calculator class, and then we have to get the result and call this object to calculate the result from the value 1, value 2, and then we have a operator. So the last thing will be std stream, so this will be result stream, so this should be updating the stream from the std to be as fixed value of let's make a precision of 2 decimal places for the results. Convert this result from double into the string. This will be result str and result stream dot str, and now we have to return this to the environment. env, this will be new string in UTF format, and result string should be _c. Okay, now library part is now completed. Now go back to NDK source implementation, and just we have to call this return calculator j, and I calculate result for the value 1, value 2, and operator. Now that we have an implementation of NDK source, go back to main view model, and what it will be requiring is the first one will be calculator repository implementation. So now we have to add a implementation for this repository. So this will be calculator repository implementation. Okay, this will be calculator repository, and now we have calculate result, and for this one we have to take NDK source. So the source will be from this NDK source, which is an interface. So just we have to return it from NDK source, calculate result, and pass all of the values. So for this repository, first we have to get the results, and now we have to pass NDK source to get the result, and we have to check if this result is a number. Then we have to return with the calculated result model, and else we have to pass the error message in that one. Let's convert this result into a string. Like so. This has successfully converted, so now convert this into string, and for this one we have to pass result. So now let's get back to the view model, and it will be requiring calculator repository implementation, and for import this, and now we have NDK source implementation. Okay, so the use case object is now added in the view model. So now we can use this use case object. Let's go back to the events here and update the events. So first of all, let's update this event. When user clicks on the back clear button, it will update the state. So the main state should be updated like so, and hit copy, and now the result should be an empty string. Whatever is in that result, that should be cleared out. And now the next thing is, when user clicks on the operator button, we have to update the state accordingly. So first of all, let's get the existing value. This will be main state dot value dot result. Now we have to update the state. Copy result equal to existing value plus the operator. And the next thing will be, when user clicks on the back button, we have to update the state and remove the last character from the result string. We have to update the result as it result dot drop last one. So it will drop the last character from the string. And now we have left out with the two things. One is the equal one and the number one. So let's first update the number event. So in that one, let's get the existing value, and now we have to update the main state as event dot number. So this will be same as the we have done with the operator. And now the last thing is, when user clicks on the equal button, this will be a little harder. So first of all, we have to get the existing value. Existing value will be this one to get the result. And now, so now if we go to the use case, so the use case is basically use case dot invoke, and it is requiring the existing value, the value 1, value 2, and the operator. So now let's remove this for now and separate out the numeric values and the operator value. So let's get the array of two numeric values from the existing value and split it with the delimiters. So the delimiters will be the operators. So include all the operators like so, and then we have to map this value accordingly and convert it to double. So the next thing will be to extract the operators from this existing value. We have to filter out this operators and get the operators from the result. So now let's first check a little thing, that will be to get the size of the result. So the value should not be less than 2, else we have to return simply, and then we have to get the calculated result, and this will be calculate result use case. So the first value will be value 1, and second one from the second index, and third one will be the operator. And whenever we get the result from this one, we have to update the main state as the autocomplete is now showing us like so. So the events part is now completed. Now we have to add this view model in the main activity. Go back to main activity, and now we have to create an instance of this view model here. Private val view model by view models, and then we have to pass the type and create a new object of this one. So here we have a view model, and we have to pass this view model into the calculator app right here. So call calculator app, and then we have to pass the view model, add a parameter to the function right here like so, and then now we have to update the state of this app accordingly. So in the app, let's first get the main state from the view model by view model dot main state, and we have to collect this as a state. Hit import, and the next thing will be extract the on event function. We have to update this basic text value from the main state. So this will be main state dot result, and whenever the value is changed in this one, we don't have to do anything because everything will be catered for from these buttons right here and in this one. Let's leave this empty, and for the backspace we have to call on event, and this will be passed as main event dot on backclick. And now we have to pass on event lambda into this grid here. The reason for this is because when the user clicks on any of the button from this grid, we have to pass this event to the view model from here. So for this one, we have to add another click event right here on button click, and this will be giving us a string, and then this on click will be passed to this button right here on button, and it is requiring a string. So when this button is clicked, it will return us this text value. So the text value will be available in this lambda, so we can use it like this. When the user clicks on this button, it should return us this text value. So this text value should return in this lambda. Go to the calculator button, and when user clicks on this on click, it should return us a string. Update this lambda here and convert this into on click event and with the text value. So now in this on button click, we have a string that is passed from here. So now we can use this on button click in every button in the grid. For the operators, we have to use another event that is on operator click. So let's remove our button from this and update the remaining buttons 3. So let's update the operator clicks. So this will be on event. This should be main event dot on operator click, and it should return us this text from this one. So let's update this for each of the operator. So for this equal, we have another event that is main event on equal clicked, and another last one is main event dot on clear clicked. So for this one, the last event is remaining for on number clicked. That should be like so. So now we have completed the implementation of our application. Alright, so let's run the application at this stage and see how our calculator app is working. Okay, as we can see, UI is perfectly working. So let's hide this one, and 1 plus 1. Great, it's working perfectly fine. So all the business logic resides in this code. So this native library app returns the calculate the result and returns it back to the native NDK source implementation, which in turn returns the result to the activity. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more Android development tutorials. See you in the next one.